How does a bastard orphan? I feel personally attacked. Is the floor spinning? The floor is spinning. Aaron Burr says so much while saying absolutely nothing.
You attacked a bursar?
I never paid the bursar. Hamilton says so much while saying absolutely everything. Washington, exactly what you expected. King George III, I have confidence that's exactly what he was like.
Yeah.
Lafayette, sign him to a rap deal today. Angelica Schuyler steals the show. Hamilton, one of the best musicals you will ever see. I've always wanted to say this. I'm a podcast host. Whee!
Welcome to The Cover, where three Hoosier friends judge books by their covers and movies by their trailers.
That's right. I'm Brett, here with my fellow Indiana natives, Remington and Marcus, ready to dive into the stories that keep us up all night and occasionally put us to sleep.
Whether you're a bookworm, movie buff, or just here for the witty banter, we've got you covered.
Each week, we'll dissect a different book or movie, sharing fun facts, hot takes, and moments that make Marcus cry. Spoiler alert, we're not experts, but we're definitely opinionated.
From literary masterpieces to blockbuster flops, nothing is safe from our snarky reviews and wild tangents. Who knew Hoosiers could be this entertaining?
So grab your popcorn and reading glasses because we're about to embark on a hilarious journey through the pages and screens that shape our lives. Or at least our weekends.
You're listening to The Cover. Let's get the show on the road before one of our kids wakes up. Happy anniversary, guys.
Yeah.
Is this the anniversary of the podcast or
of
what?
the United States of America.
No, it's my anniversary, and I'm down here doing a podcast with you guys.
Oh. I thought it
Thanks,
was July
Kels.
4th.
Super
1776.
super just unselfish and selfish of you all at the same time, Rem.
So you missed the anniversary?
No.
I missed a softball game tonight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You want to know what's new?
I want to know what's new.
What's new, Marcus? Well, I was on my way here today and stopped at a gas station. And I get out, and as I'm getting out, I can tell that the person in the car recognizes me. The person in the car I can feel it. Yep. I can feel that he recognizes me. But I can't remember who he is or where I know him from.
What's up, man?
And I just kind of give him a little like head nod, you know, walk around my car, and he's got his window down. He's like, "Hey man, how's it going? Great to see you." And I'm like, "Great to see you too, dude." Like, has this happened to you guys? Like, dude, it is so frustrating when I will be having a coffee meeting with somebody sometimes, and then there's someone else that shows up in there, and I know they're going to come over and say hi, and I just can't figure out who they are. So I'm trying to have a meeting, like a real conversation, a real meeting that I'm taking notes, and the whole time I'm thinking, how do I know that other person? How do I know that other person? Because I'm going to have to introduce these two, and I can't remember his freaking name.
No. Time out. No.
Oh, I know what you're going to say, and I do this too.
You know the move, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the person you do know. It's like, oh, hey. When I introduce you, this is my friend John.
Yeah.
And he'll say, hey, and then he'll go,
yeah. Oh, I do that, but I feel like that's just giving it away. You just don't know.
I hop on Facebook or my contacts if I can place it close. Like this literally happened to me today. I was like, oh, I know it's a John.
You should. Can you search?
This was
social
definitely
media?
a church. This was definitely like a church discipleship walk situation.
Met him one time.
Yeah, like met him like over a weekend or whatever.
Yeah. Wait,
and
so in this moment, you still don't know?
Oh, I still don't know.
You gave a talk.
It's probably just someone.
Life.
No, it's probably just someone who listens.
That's exactly.
It's someone who listens to the cover and they feel like they know you, but you don't know them.
Yeah, this is
Celebrity
definitely
status.
happening all over the place.
Celebrity
now.
status.
All over Indianapolis. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
for sure.
I bet, dude. Does that happen to you, Brett? With
a lot.
People who used to work for you.
Yes.
And you changed their life, and they come up and you're just like, I don't remember you at all. You sold $37.
They might not even.
I'm like, hey,
I remember how much they sold.
You weren't even on key staff, bro.
By the way, man, if you could bring that sample kit back, that'd be. I didn't want to say anything, but you know that's not yours, right? Like you were borrowing that.
You know, I got charged for that, right?
That's great.
Turned in my last base pay.
Stats.
Oh,
top
you
10.
want some stats?
Top 10.
Lord of the Rings 2.
The top 10. Lord of the Rings 2 is on the way.
Oh.
Lord of the Rings Part 2 we're talking about. These are the top 10 episodes. Obliterating everybody in first place is The Passion of Christ. Followed,
As it should be.
Followed by Gladiator. But then 2 books in a row, Boys in the Boat and Green Lights. Boys on the Boat surging.
Green Lights
Like-
recent?
Green Lights is surging.
Green Lights is not surging. It was high because it was like the 4th episode.
Got it.
It was also the first episode that we really promoted.
Yeah. So it's up there. Devil in the White City is number 6. So you've got 2 books that have really, and by the way, those 2 books, if we're going to pick 2 books to surge, those are 2 great ones.
You know what's interesting? So the fact that we are struggling getting Spotify to allow us to recategorize, maybe that's why our books are performing so well.
I know it is. Yeah.
That's possible.
Yeah.
But I also don't think it is. I think if you look right now, it's movies. We're categorized as movies.
Mm.
I mean, maybe
Recently,
I'm wrong.
We changed it.
I changed it to
I know.
movie reviews.
I know. And
So you're saying what?
But it was books.
it was books
for
a
and
long time.
Well, no, and I don't think it accepted. Let me look. We've got about. What does it say when we go to about? It says books still.
It says
very
books on
fun.
our web
Yep, on Spotify it says books.
Huh.
Yeah,
Worth looking into.
the scam. Welcome to the Cover Podcast, where we only
Unless
cover.
you want to pay us Spotify, then you're
Yeah.
not a scam.
Welcome to the Cover Podcast, where we only cover books, as Spotify tells you. I'm your host, Brett Wiggins, and as
Hold
always,
up, dude. I'm on Apple, and it says film reviews
Okay.
updated daily.
Apple's different.
I'm
though.
on
What are you on?
Spotify.
Maybe that's what I got to do is change it on Spotify.
Bro. Yeah,
I think I did change it. I don't even know how I would have changed it on Apple.
Yeah, I feel like Spotify.
If you know the
tells-
answer to this question, email us at the coverpod at gmail.com. Nobody checks that.
I
You
check
check it?
Yeah,
Oh,
like every 2 weeks or so.
man.
Anyway,
What's my mom up to
what were you
these days?
saying, Brett? what were you saying, Brett?
I was saying that this guy's, as always, to my left. His name is
MARCUSMANGENNS. Yeah, that works.
Painful.
sitting to
I'm
my,
a good rapper, guys.
To my right is
I'm waiting.
Sir.
Rivington Ramsey.
Thank you. We answer 9 questions every week. We already
Are we
answered
allowed to
1.
have a British person on this podcast on this episode?
I don't know what you mean.
You can't be a sir if you're not British.
Oh, I get it.
Man, that's a good
Should
question.
we switch him out with producer Nate?
Fortunately, we can only
That was one of
answer
my
9.
favorite posts.
No way producer Nate's British.
That was one of my favorite memes is have fun at work today, England, on the 4th of July. That's good.
That's a very good one.
Sir Remington,
Back-to-back World War II champs.
second question.
That's right.
What are we covering?
A Broadway musical about one of the USA's founding fathers, Alexander Hamilton, the story of his life and how he contributed to the fight to bring freedom and peace to the country and to everyone who is struggling to live in difficult times. A 2016 taping of the universally acclaimed Broadway musical based on the life of American founding father Alexander Hamilton. The musical, featuring hip-hop, R&B, pop, soul, and theater show tunes, was written by and starred Lin-Manuel Miranda. The story follows Hamilton's involvement in the American Revolution, the young nation's early political struggles, as well as Hamilton's marriage rivalries and his interactions with Aaron Burr. This movie is Hamilton, 2020, PG-13, 2 hours and 40 runtime. Oh my gosh. Starring Lin-Manuel, Philippa Sue, Leslie Odom Jr., director Thomas Kail.
Doesn't even mention Jonathan Groff in the main.
Jonathan Groff.
Groff. what did you know?
He's not a top billed cast, but he is not also in it for very much.
Correct.
But he came back.
Total runtime.
So he was already gone. He had already left the show when they said that what they were going to do, because basically when 2020 hit, there was a huge play to see who was going to be able to broadcast this, and Disney spent $75 million in order to get this. And so Jonathan Groff, oh, for sure, Jonathan Groff comes back and he does it just for this taping, and this was taped over 4 days, basically taking the best parts of all 4 days.
So, because at the beginning of this recording, it says July 2016 is when it was recorded.
Correct, because they were going to release it anyway.
Got it.
But didn't know who was going to pay for the rights.
Got it.
It was going to come out in October of 2021, and they rushed it. Disney rushed it to get it out during COVID.
Got it. Great call by them.
Yep.
I knew a ton of people. So people were freaking out about it. Going to, I think Chicago was probably the closest to Indy that had the traveling show. People were freaking out about it for, I don't know, I want to say it was less than 2 years. And then
you were talking about it for a long time before I even looked into it. I had never listened to it. People were listening to the soundtrack, singing it before they even saw it.
My guys that I worked with loved it and were playing it nonstop during COVID.
Nonstop.
Now, did they listen to it before they saw the show?
None of them saw the show until it was on Disney Plus. It was literally just listening to the album.
But who listens to show tunes without seeing the show? You know what I mean?
It's hard to do. My brother's hilarious. So his wife had been listening to this nonstop, and so he was listening to it too, and he never understood the rewind part until they went and saw the actual show, and he was like, "Oh." Yeah. I had never listened to much of it, so I kind of had a general idea of how the musical went, but I'm like Rem, like if I'm not gonna watch the musical, I'm not just gonna listen to show tunes.
As someone who was not a musical person, I don't think I cared because I loved the music so much.
Well, yeah, it was the first time Broadway really incorporated this many different genres, including rap, R&B, and
I didn't realize most music
and his homage to all of these different artists had to ring true to you.
Yeah, for sure.
In a completely different way than it did for me. Like I caught some of the stuff. But
I didn't realize that most musicals were, and actually maybe to technically be a musical, every line is a no. Okay, that's what I think. Why I think the album does work more with this one than like
because
a
you can literally
show.
listen to the whole thing. It's the entire show.
Yeah,
Phantom of the Opera is kind of that way too.
Yes.
It's like an operetta.
You're missing zero by listening to the album. So I think that's why it works better than most.
Yeah, it was originally shot to not be that. It was supposed to be have lines and script as well. And I'll look up the fun fact, but he ended up changing it because it flowed better, I think.
Oh, man.
I think what it was
everything just became sing-songy rap.
The opening number is so epic, he could not figure out how to work in any dialogue that wouldn't just flow through, like because the opening number rings through the entire show.
The recalls, the foreshadow, everything is connected for sure. I just knew a ton of people were freaking out about it and didn't stop saying how awesome it was, and then we watched it Disney Plus.
Did you feel like there was a ton of? You're talking about like when they go back and share the story, the rewind. Like, do you feel like that happens a lot?
No.
He's just saying that one specific
that
song.
specific part never made sense to my brother.
And Satisfied, like basically they're satisfied.
Well, when she's
go back and show his marriage,
to the groom, to the bride, to the bride, and then she goes back, and they all say rewind.
Yeah,
he never could understand that, and it makes sense. Like if you're just listening, that part would be very confusing.
Well, even when I was watching, because I was taking notes, I was kind of half watching, and I was like, "Wait, didn't we already see this?" And I was like, "Oh shoot, it is a rewind." And
it's really cleverly done on stage,
dude. I mean, the amount of thought put into every line of this musical, and then you add on top of it the costumes, the choreography, the sets.
Stage.
I mean, it's just, it hits on every single level.
Yeah.
That
I
is
mean,
that is an interesting fun fact.
There's something magical about theater. And make like this is a very different episode in a way because this isn't really a movie.
Right. It's not.
This isn't a movie, but man, it opened the world up to musical theater in a way that it hadn't been before.
It probably could have been a movie. They were wanting it to be a movie. They were filming this anyway. And
it might still become a movie at
right,
some point.
It very well could be, like Les Mis.
Yeah.
But like they decided to launch this instead, especially because I think they were just in love with the fact that the musical did so well they wanted to keep that original cast for, broadcasting. But here's a really fun fact for you. The staging for the song Satisfied, which is where they do that rewind, rather unusually was inspired by Pixar's Ratatouille. So specifically the scene where the food critic bites into the ratatouille and it flashes, it goes all the way back and does a flashback.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there's plenty of flashbacks in all these movies, but for Lin-Manuel, that was the one that inspired it. I love Ratatouille.
Ratatouille is one of my favorites.
Favorite Disney?
I have a hard time not picking it as my favorite Disney movie.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up there for me.
I mean, it's good, but I don't know.
By the way,
beyond the favorite,
It's great for me. It's the humor, the food part of it, the culture, and I love it.
Have you ever seen the reel that claims that
I just don't like French.
Ego's mom is the lady that tries to shoot
Yeah,
Remy?
I've seen
because
those.
the chair's the same and stuff.
Yeah, I think Disney's smart enough where they're probably throwing those Easter eggs in there.
100%, and in different movies. Like
Yeah.
there's crossover.
They
time
do that for
crossover.
sure.
Yeah,
all the time.
Marcus, what'd you know going into it? Who'd you know that liked it? What did you heard about it before you guys watched?
I just heard that it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I knew that a lot of people really liked this musical and that it was different. That's about it. And I don't think I realized that it was going to be on Disney Plus. And one day it was just on Disney Plus. I think during COVID, right? Is when this.
Yes.
It came out there early on in COVID.
Yeah, real early.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it, and I might have watched it twice in a row. Like I'm pretty sure this is another one of those that in
Even
a
though it's
similar
like 2 hours and 40 minutes.
in a similar vein to Tick Tick Boom. Like I watched it and I was like, what did I just watch? I need to process this. So that's when I asked Jessica to come and I can watch it again and like really think about it.
I have moved on
because
from,
it is so fast.
Yeah.
Like the singing and the dialogue and everything else.
So we're
when he
watching
spits.
it. Oh man, when we're
It's
watching this in the
fantastic.
background, we're screening it, and it's when the king comes out for his first scene, and this is when I knew I was just gonna love the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Like the first opening act, I'm like, oh, this is good.
This
and then
is
you're
really
kind of
good.
watching. It's like, oh, I'm learning. Like, and then the king comes out. I'm like, this might be the greatest ever. He's so good, and he's in like 3 scenes. But then also like he does the opening. Welcome to my show.
I thought that was one of the biggest misses. So he
Jonathan
does
Groff.
well. No, he does play a different character in the second act. So he plays some. I think it's it's not a big part.
Well, just because everybody plays somebody.
Everybody,
Everybody
but
is.
that's what sucked was during the curtain call. I think he
comes out as
another, and
Because
I'm like,
he's already
dude,
dressed like that?
dude, I think it's
Oh, that's
worth the
interesting.
effort to put that back on.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
to get the standing up.
yeah, dude.
but it's about the show, though.
I know, but
Oh, no,
doesn't-
I disagree.
It doesn't even have to be individual. It could be just as a line, but I don't know. I was literally looking for him. I'm like, oh no,
A lot.
That is a miss. I've never noticed that.
yeah.
A lot's been made about my acting career on this podcast, and the very first,
More than what was made of your acting career during it. Yeah.
the
And by
very
really
first,
one person in general on the show.
Yeah, I can't. You guys are obsessed with me. The very first musical that I was in, it was The Music Man, and I was Winthrop. You guys know The Music Man at all?
525,000.
No, that's not The Music Man.
Oh, it's not.
No.
Do you think I know?
Well, Ron
Hold on, I do know
Howard-
the Music Man. I know the Music Man.
Ron
Gary
Howard-
Indiana. Gary
yeah.
Indiana.
Ron
Gary
Howard plays the little
Indiana,
kid.
Gary.
Okay, with the lisp. Well,
Yeah.
I was the little kid with the lisp. So I was in 8th grade, and I was still pretty small. So I'm in the high
they're
school musical.
typecasting you again.
I'm in the high school musical as the little kid, right? And I had this lisp, and I could not sing, "Oh ho, the Wells Fargo wagon is a coming now," and I would just spit all over the band like during this thing, and it was just like this, where the crowd just loses it because they can see it, and you're literally like the band is underneath you,
right?
You know, so you're spitting on them basically. It's
but
hilarious.
you told me, doesn't he have like some sort of thing where like his lips are always wet when he sings or something?
I think we did talk about that, where that was a natural, like he just leaned into it, I believe.
Well, it's pretty common. I mean, it's definitely not uncommon.
Well, I don't notice about any other character in the entire show except for this. But he does lean into it.
Yeah,
it's great.
He definitely leans.
John, if you haven't seen it, which I'd be shocked if you haven't, but he is also Kristoff in Frozen, and
has an amazing ballad in Frozen.
I was watching
2
with
as well.
the kids, and while he was up, they love that part. Yeah. But while he was up, I was like, "Man, that sounds like Kristoff," and of course, Reed's like, "Dad, stop being stupid."
Yeah.
You know, I know that's the same.
Oh, my kids aren't at that
I know
age
that's
yet.
the same.
I get some eye rolls from
one.
Willow every now and then.
And then Quinn just looks at me like, "That's him, isn't it? He plays Kristoff." I was like, "Yep."
Have you guys ever seen Nanny McPhee?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
We just watched it for family movie night last week. Awesome movie. At the servant girl that ends up marrying him at the end. I'm like, oh, I see what's happening here, and Willow's like, what's happening?
yeah.
What? And then eventually it hits. She's like, oh my gosh, she's gonna come back. They're gonna get married, aren't they? I'm like, got it.
I love it, dude. I love watching with these kids.
Yeah.
It's fun watching them see stuff for the first time.
Yeah.
It'd be like if I got to just watch movies with Brett all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I have about the same reactions. I do. It's time for our 30-second synopsis. Marcus is not ready. So I'll rock and roll with some slam poetry. How does a bastard orphan? I feel personally attacked. Is the floor spinning? The floor is spinning. Aaron Burr says so much while saying absolutely
You
nothing.
attacked a bursar?
I never paid the bursar. Hamilton says so much while saying absolutely everything. Washington, exactly what you expected. King George III, I have confidence that's exactly what he was like.
Yeah.
Lafayette, sign him to a rap deal today. Angelica Schuyler steals the show. Hamilton, one of the best musicals you will ever see. I've always wanted to say this. I'm a podcast host.
Oh man, that's good. I've got to be honest. I missed that part until this time we screened it.
No,
I've seen Hamilton a few times.
Oh, man.
I've never caught that character.
Outward laugh, a laugh out loud. Yeah.
Oh man, what is he? A commander?
I'm a general.
I'm a general.
I'm a general. I'm gonna start using that. That's too good.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
All right, Marcus, 9 words.
Who do you guys think are the most talented singers from this actual cast?
Okay.
I think So whoever plays Angelica Schuyler,
I think 2 of them are in this
Is
scene.
Leslie Odom.
Leslie Odom's got to be up there.
Fantastic.
the only reason I would say Angelica Schuyler is the total package.
And George Washington.
George
And
Washington.
Angelica.
Chris
which George Washington was a famous Broadway guy already,
Right.
I believe.
Well, a lot of these
for
were.
sure. They're all
Philippa
very,
Sue,
very
there's only
good.
4 of them that were. This is their Broadway debut. Philippa Sue is one of them.
Is she Angelica Schuyler?
No, Angelica is
Philippa is
Renee. Elise
I
Goldsberry.
think her
Eliza.
her ability to she raps, she sings,
She's very
she
impressive.
leads, I think she just makes so many of the separate songs work. She just blows me
So
away.
at one
She's
point,
very versatile.
Yes.
At one point, I wrote down, Jonathan Groff steals the show, and then I wrote down, Angelica also steals the show, and then I wrote down,
David.
Leslie Odom
yeah.
also steals the show.
You think Leslie Odom steals the show?
There's
they each have a song or a moment.
What Lin-Manuel did
He's
really,
very
really
good,
well.
but I don't know if he ever steals the show.
What he did really well was like those solos that they get are so impactful.
Yeah.
that they've just got you, man.
It's got to be one of the first or only times I've ever seen a cast made up of people who they're not trying to make them look like the cast, using different ethnicities to portray a time where slavery was a big issue.
Yeah, clearly done on purpose.
Sure.
But it's really interesting.
Yeah.
For sure.
Leslie Odom's Lying in Wait is, I think, what you're referring to.
Yeah, that's really good. I also really like when I put it on my list of what made me think, but I really love towards the end of, I think it's the first act where the kids are being born, and you get Odom talking to Theologia or whatever her name is, Theodosia, and then you've got Lin-Manuel talking about my son. I love that because, again, they're on opposite sides for everything. They're kind of frenemies. They're both having kids, and then they're both the same. Yeah, in so many ways.
It's a great equalizer.
Like, it was such a really cool moment.
Raw human.
And so that was the other one. But yeah, I'm lying in wait.
I don't know
not
about
standing
naturally.
Still, I'm lying in wait. So
I don't know about naturally talented singer, but rapper David Diggs,
he crushes it.
Is
Lafayette?
So good.
Yeah.
He's so funny,
so fast.
So is he
and so vivid?
Is he
this was his
in
debut.
Any movies that I would have seen?
Little Mermaid.
Because he looks
he's Sebastian.
He looks like
he's
homeboy
Sebastian.
from Coach Carter, but it's not him.
He's Sebastian in the real live 2023 Ariel.
Got it.
He's in Wonder.
Yeah,
if you've seen Wonder,
he's a teacher in Wonder.
Many times.
But no, I don't think there's any other.
Is that
movies.
the one with the boy with the astronaut helmet?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen that.
He does a lot of stage acting.
Okay.
Dude, that's the other. Do you want me to do my 9 words and then we can get into it?
Yeah.
Okay. Brash. Okay, here we go.
We're talking about Alexander Hamilton.
Thanks. Brash young Hamilton rises up and helps create America.
Yes.
It was a little panic moment.
Yes.
There was a little panic moment.
It's like, what was
Anyway,
they going to say, United States
now
or
that
America?
we can say what made me think,
Yeah.
watching this is fun because it is stage acting. It is not a movie.
Right.
And the interaction with the crowd is so
necessary,
visible.
Yeah.
And they are doing things that they may or may not do every single time.
That's true.
Because of the way that the crowd is interacting with them, and no crowd is the same.
It's really funny you say that because I wrote down a note. Wouldn't it be so fun to have different choices? You know, you play this character twice a day, every day, for years.
Yeah.
And then so your ability to not get bored, do a good job,
You
and then
absolutely-
choose
Yeah.
like different choices, and not lose your character, like and not mess other people up.
Right.
It's got to be pretty fun.
Oh, I mean, and that's the best thing about like being on stage. And I get that it was just high school, but like it was so fun. Like when you had the crowd
it's creation.
and you're acting and they're interacting with you.
It's creation.
Yeah. Like, it was the most fun part about when we did the live podcast. Was that like we were getting reactions live.
Sure.
And you start to realize like what's hitting or what's not. And you can kind of lean into that at some level. And they didn't shy away from this at all in this because it's in front of a live audience.
You know, it's funny. We decided to watch I Love Lucy with the girls because we thought, it'd be good. And I will tell you, season 1 is all about season 1 is just like they figure out what hits was like making it look like there was going to be infidelity and like you're just stuck in this constant like I don't even know what you call that, but basically like what's happening is not what's happening kind of thing. And they just rinse and repeat that whole thing. Season 2, you had the chocolate factory, you had some of the more memorable. So we skipped ahead to that, but it's pretty crazy. Like the early sitcoms are basically is still stage acting. Like the amount.
Yes. A live studio audience.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's still lots of, very flamboyant movements and and trying to get a reaction clearly from people instead of like the the 90s sitcoms, King of Queens, Everybody Loves Raymond. Like it's very different.
I was explaining that to the kids when we were looking at this because anytime that they would do a close up, their expressions are so much different than when you're watching an actor that's doing it for a movie.
Sure.
Right? Because they're doing the expressions for the people in the back.
Right.
Right? Because that's who you're acting for them. You're saying it for them. Like they have to see it. So everything has to be exaggerated. And you can see that on here. And I didn't think it took away from it at all.
Emotional scenes, you could definitely tell that when he's like crying.
Yeah.
It's
got to be your whole body.
You saying that makes me realize, because it feels like he's overdoing it, but you saying it's for the people in the back row, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Why it
Totally,
feels
because there's
that way.
no big screen. Like they don't have like a screen that are doing close-ups.
Yep.
Like it is the stage.
Yeah.
And in Broadway, you have like, what, 2,000 people?
I don't know.
I wonder how many.
You know what? I've never been. I will go at some point, but I've never been. So
I'm thinking about going off Broadway at some point.
that could be a lot less people.
Like on stage?
There's I would guess.
What
it's
would
in
your
that,
show be about,
like
Brett?
1,500 neighborhood.
It might have the same opening lines.
There's a lot of there's a lot of friends overlap. I think it'd be really cool. I mean, Broadway is basically what Smartless did. They basically took a show on Broadway stages or off Broadway stages. So that's where we're headed. Is basically where I'm getting at.
Yeah,
We brought up
Sundance.
live studio audience recording. Do you guys watch any shows that would be taped in front of a live studio audience still?
How I Met Your Mother was not
game
but they,
shows.
but they would. Yeah, I mean, I guess
Okay,
game shows.
besides
mostly.
game shows, sitcoms.
No, I don't think sitcoms are anymore.
No, there are some CBS sitcoms.
Well,
that-
1,319.
How many?
Oh, wow.
1,000. So 1,300 is like the largest.
That's the
Broadway.
That's the Richard Rogers Theater
Okay.
where Hamilton
Yeah.
was housed.
So
Wow, that's an
1,300. So that's
intimate
less than
group.
Northview.
That's an intimate group.
That's probably half the size of Northview Church
Of the Carmel
in
campus.
Carmel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean the Fishers campus.
I'm trying to think of a venue that has 1,300 people. Like would the Vogue, would they have about? Can you?
Well, Murat is
producer
probably
Nate,
close to that.
Producer Nate, yeah.
Murat.
Producer, can you look up
That feels right.
most common venues in Indianapolis and how many seats they hold? But yeah, I think the Murat would be close.
Yeah, live studio audience. I feel like the you're getting
Maybe like fever games before Caitlin Clark.
I'm not saying how many people showed up.
I'm
I'm saying how many
no.
seats.
You don't have to go that far back. You can just go to any Angel Reese game.
Oh.
That would be also close.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. Pew, pew, I mean, you should probably be in the bunker already.
Into the
Go
thumb
to the
bunker.
thumb bunker.
Put it back in
Here's
your
something, and maybe this is because I've listened to the album so many times.
Oh, cool. The Jungle is about the size. So the Jungle at IUPUI is about 1,200 seats.
Okay.
Star Bank in Zionsville, which is where all of our so Brett and my kids did ballet. That's about 1,200 seats. That's probably the most Broadway-esque that we
That
have
still feels big,
experienced.
though. It still feels big.
Palladium 1,500 to
Yeah, I mean it's
1,600.
not small.
What I love about the Palladium is the Palladium feels more intimate because it's layered,
Which is what this would be
which
like.
is what I want.
Yeah.
Whereas the Star one is just keeps
Maybe
going back.
Yeah.
It
I saw a
feels
show at the
big.
Palladium. It didn't feel that big.
Yeah,
The Palladium,
I
it
saw-
would be like that.
I saw
It's very intimate.
I saw Singing Hoosiers at Palladium. Amazing.
Oh, really?
Very, very good. Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't at the Palladium. Is there another smaller venue right next to the Palladium?
Yeah. I mean, there's
Smaller theaters?
Well, I don't know if it's a theater, but inside the Carmichael, they've got.
No, that's not what I'm talking
spot.
about. That's been the
There's
Palladium.
nothing
It did
close
not-
to the
It did
Palladium.
not feel 1,500.
Watching the live show makes it literally, and I need to time it. I think it's slower than the album. I think the album.
Oh, well, I can tell you this is that they make mistakes in things that they don't make on the album.
Oh.
I noticed it too.
like
okay.
like the band does?
No, the actors.
And so the band has to compensate?
Well, there's just things that they miss or don't say or whatever.
I just feel like
compared to the album.
the pace feels slower, at least at the beginning.
I
don't-
understand. I
yeah.
understand, but I think it's more
Got
that
it.
they'll like say something slightly different or
Which would make sense.
or whatever
Yeah,
because
okay.
it's I mean it's not quite live because I think that they actually I think what was the finished project was used over multiple nights, right? Am I right on that, Rem? Where it was like 6 or 7 different shows.
It was over the course. I've got the actual exact stats, but it was basically over 4 days. And what they did was they actually paired it with an actual live show, and then they got the close-ups not during when they were
during
actually
like a
filming.
rehearsal or whatever. Yeah.
Got it.
I'll look it up.
No, that's okay. But because of that, because you're doing it a live show, it's live. Like you're gonna mess up or whatever. And I think if you know the soundtrack really well and you're used to just listening to the soundtrack, it does sound slightly different.
This is interesting. I want to give you the exact stats on this because this is fascinating. Filmed over the course of 3 days in June of 2016. So that was your point.
Yep.
June in 2016. It started by filming a live Sunday matinee performance with cameras in the audience, after which the cast and crew spent the rest of the day and evening filming close-ups, dolly shots, and crane shots. Filming continued all day on Monday, normally the cast day off, with more close-ups, and more filming took place on Tuesday morning before shooting another live performance on Tuesday evening with cameras again in the audience. Lin-Manuel Miranda said it was basically a 3-day film shoot with the best rehearsed cast in the history of the movies.
That makes sense.
Because we'd all been there doing the show for a year at this point.
So long.
And this was 2 weeks before they all decided to, they basically did this as the last hurrah. And then they left the show together.
Really?
Yeah.
So Riley told me that who plays George Washington? Do we know?
Christopher Harris.
Okay, COVID saved his voice because he had to take a break from singing. He said
Jackson.
All of the Hamilton performances literally almost ruined his voice. He was singing so much, so
more
often.
than anyone else.
No, just himself in general. Just that's the most performing he had ever done.
It's got to be brutal.
So what? So
you're not saying him getting COVID saved. You're saying the shut down and
being shut
live
down.
audience.
Yes.
Being shut down,
So you said, Rem, that Disney bought the rights.
They probably couldn't perform for like 2 years in New York.
Rem, you said,
that's a COVID liberal joke.
Maybe viewed as essential in New York also, though.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're kind of a catch-22 there. So that you said Disney bought the rights
for all the rich people to be able to go see their musicals.
I wasn't going to say rich. You said Disney bought the rights for $75 million in 2016, planning to release it in October of 21.
Yeah.
My question is, what do you need to do for 5 years?
It's a good question.
Or is it to relaunch it after the initial? I don't that I did not understand.
The cost of the filming of the show in June of 26 was for an exhibition. An independent movie was financed for 3 main producers, less than $10 million. In February 2020, Disney paid $75 million for the worldwide rights to release it, believing to be the largest price ever paid for a single film acquisition, by the way. Other studios expressed interest, Warner Brothers, 20th Century Fox, and I think... Yeah, I don't know why it took that long to produce it, or if they wanted to. A lot of times what they'll do if they're going to put out a movie is let the show run and make as much money as they can without making the movie first. And so if you make the movie, then
nobody's going to go to the show.
There's less reason to see the live show.
That is probably the point that makes most sense.
Why that was.
Most sense to me.
So one of my notes was, and I said this right away, was just that and maybe this might not be true because my knowledge of just musical theater is severely lacking. However, the music, the choreography, everything else just feels so new and innovative.
For Hamilton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the rap influences and the way that it really kind of breaks the mold in a similar way to what Jonathan Larson did with Rent. And we talked about that on the Tick Tick Boom episode and how Lin-Manuel Miranda produced that movie and wanted to do him right because Jonathan Larson was a hero. He was like, "Oh, we can do these things." Mm-hmm. That's so cool. We can break
the rules.
And man, what a run for Lin-Manuel and Disney. Like, he is crushing it.
Is Tick Tick Boom Disney?
No.
Okay.
But it's on Netflix.
All right. I've got a list of the top 10 Broadway shows of all time.
Cats.
I believe this
Les
is
Mis.
based on highest grossing. I think this is a mixture of things. It's based on
Phantom.
attendance. I think it's based on attendance. It's
Yep.
based on cash and all the things.
Okay,
All
so
right,
you said Cats, Les Mis.
How many
and
of the
what?
10 can you name?
I can probably name a few.
So
Let's go.
Rent.
Rent, Cats, Les Mis, Phantom of the
hold
Opera.
on. Rent is number 7. Cats is not on the list.
Really?
What? I feel like Cats held the record for.
Yeah, but when they
Longest
did the
running.
movie, it was weird. It killed it.
It
Everybody,
didn't kill
everyone
it.
hated it.
I
James
know everybody
Corden.
hated the movie, but
I'm just kidding. That has nothing to do with it. I'm just saying.
Phantom has to be on there.
Phantom is number 3.
I saw 60% of that.
The movie?
No, we went to it together. Musical.
We went to the Phantom?
Well, maybe. Yeah, we were with the Gannons, and
Yeah, I
you
don't
know,
think I went to that.
I fell asleep.
Oh, I did go to that. I did see that. Yeah, that was before I appreciated it.
I really love that musical.
The set of Phantom was very cool.
Outstanding.
You said Les Mis. Les Mis is number 5. Keep going.
Is Hamilton on there?
Hamilton
yeah,
is
Hamilton-
number 4.
Hamilton's definitely on there.
You're missing the top 2 all time.
Yeah, I'm working on
One
it.
you should get
There's
immediately.
probably some Sound of Music.
Sound of Music is not on there.
Oh,
Nope. So the top 2, one of them came out this year as a movie and was somewhat controversial, and one of them's green and flies around on a broomstick.
oh, Wicked.
Wicked.
Wicked is number 2, second highest domestic earner, 1.25 billion worldwide, $5 billion.
Yeah, Wicked is Wicked.
Number 1
Mamma Mia?
has
Is Mamma
been
Mia on the list?
an epic number 1 since it came out in the mid 90s. Also a Disney movie featuring Scar.
Lion King.
The
Wow.
Lion King.
Is
highest
Beauty and the
grossing.
Beast on the list?
By the way, I know that Scar is not the main character, but I thought it'd be funny to say that
Because
he's
Beauty
the
and the
protagonist.
Beast is
Beauty and the Beast is not on the list. So
heck
it goes
of a
like
musical.
this. Top 10, actually top 9 to say it in true fashion. Producers and the Book of Mormon
Oh, producers, and those are both great.
are ranked number 9s together.
Yeah.
And Book of Mormon I have seen, and it is hilarious.
Yeah, Book of Mormon and Producers is hilarious too.
Yep.
And that's a funny movie.
Lion
Into the
King.
Woods and Cabaret are tied at number 8.
Okay.
Rent at number 7. Chicago at
Oh,
number 6.
yeah.
And then the top 5,
So
Les Mis,
Lion
Hamilton,
King
Phantom.
was Disney movie first, though.
Chicago.
And then made into a
Dude,
Well, it
musical?
says that it was open in 97, and I believe Lion King was 94.
they
Yeah,
did a good
so.
job with Chicago with that movie too. Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
What's Chicago about? I mean, I'm asking a stupid question.
I don't
Just
remember.
about
Cabaret
Chicago.
theater.
Got it.
Yeah, just running. I believe it's about running a cabaret theater show.
You're talking about the new, it brought a new feel to Broadway. I don't know, when it is a musical that is like all songs, there's no...
We had this conversation on the Tick Tick Boom episode.
When it's like that, though, are the transitions this good, or is it like song over, a new song starting? I felt like it never, to Rem's point, it never ended. It's
It's
one
a flow.
It is a flow,
Yeah.
and the transitions are impeccable.
Yeah.
It literally feels like you're listening to an older like album where the artist wanted it to just all flow together to where there's no. And are there other musicals like that?
Yeah.
that do
I
this
mean,
good of a
Phantom
job?
is like that.
Yeah, I mean, all the ones
Les
we named on
Mis
this,
is
all the
like
ones we
that.
named on this list. Yeah.
There's not a lot.
I actually think Les Mis, the movie, I actually think Hamilton is way better at it being like non-forced dialogue. Like every single song in dialogue is calculated, whereas Les Mis is like, I need to sing the next thing that I'm singing, so I'm just going
So
to
they
sing
save
it.
it by doing that.
Oh, they don't even
whereas-
save it. It's just forced. It's bad,
Yeah.
in my opinion. That's why I didn't like it.
Yeah, the movie or the musical.
I did not like the movie.
Yeah.
And if I watched it again, knowing that it's like critically acclaimed and I need to appreciate it, then I'll try harder. But it bugged me so much.
You know
all
what
the
they
forced
did?
Dialogue.
What they did with Les Mis in that movie that they had never done before is that they didn't do lip syncing.
They actually, yeah.
So they
sang
had tracks in their ears, and they were singing and basically acting while singing.
Yeah. I mean, the Anne Hathaway shaving her head whole thing, like, that was pretty epic. Like, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I just thought it wasn't the best cast. Like, Russell Crowe was a little out of his element in that. Like, he just couldn't quite
Keep up.
pull off Javert. And Hugh Jackman's
Is Jean Valjean in Les Mis?
Yeah, Hugh Jackman's
Remembered
fantastic as Jean Valjean.
Nice.
He's a good actor, but man, when he gets those high notes, it just hurts. You know, like he can't quite get there.
You talked about them acting, singing, all of that at the same time. I forget how hard it is.
But Eddie Redmayne or whatever, he's really good in that.
If you've ever wondered how hard it is to do full dancing choreography and sing, try to run with someone and have a full conversation while you're running.
Yeah.
The after my shot, they're breathing so hard in unison. Like, you can see their chest.
Yeah.
Like, it takes so much out of them. I feel like every.
Yeah, that's why everyone
number.
on stage is in shape.
That's right.
Yeah, they're definitely.
They're
fit.
in great shape.
The timing of the spinning floor. You brought
So
good.
cool.
You brought up the rewind.
Mm-hmm.
They're acting in reverse.
Yep.
They're
The
I mean,
choreography in this is so tight.
they're
It's so freaking
they're
good.
literally going in reverse of the scene that they just did at the wedding, and it's
So, like, if you're Lin-Manuel and you're creating this, how, like, as you're writing, do you do it in pockets? Do you, like, write the songs first and then you're like, oh, you know, it'd be really cool as if the floor spins right here, or like, is your mind working all together?
I doubt he did the choreography and stuff.
Oh, I bet he had a huge influence on it.
He had an influence on it, but
There's no way you can. There's no way you can have.
There was a.
I'm sure he brought someone in to be
Yeah.
like, because you can't, like, literally choreograph every single
It
person
took
on
him
it.
forever to write this.
6
musical.
years or 5 years.
Yeah.
It took him 5 years from the time he read the book. So I think I'm the only one here that read it, right?
we have. the
I have
book.
not
didn't read
listened
it.
to 37 hours of this
Yeah,
book.
dude, I did. Two trips to Florida, got it done, or one trip to Florida, and then one trip back. But it moves. You guys need to read it.
I'll read it.
It's fantastic.
Working my way through the Lord of the Rings right now.
I don't know how you say this name. Ron Chernow or Chernow.
The author?
Yeah, he writes a ton of historical books. He wrote, I believe, John
But it's really
Adams
just
and a bunch
biography,
of them.
right?
Biography, historical
Yeah.
books. And so Lin-Manuel approached him to, like, after he read it. So he was inspired by the book.
Yeah.
And he approached Ron and said, hey, I want you to help me write the musical. And he had no desire until Miranda basically convinced him. He met up with him, and the way he convinced him.
And he was like, how does the bastard orphan son of a...
You're joking, but yes, it was. He basically played the first song for him, and Ron was hooked.
No, I'm not joking. That is absolutely how I, like, see it going in my head.
Yeah.
Like,
I've seen an interview.
how do you not start hearing that and just be like, this is different.
Yeah.
This is good.
Leslie Odom tells a story in an interview where he sees the musical at a school or something that Lin-Manuel is putting on. It's small, it's new.
Yeah.
And they go, when did you know? He goes, the first 5 words.
Totally.
I knew.
When did you know Lin-Manuel was epic?
When did you know you wanted to be a part of this? And he said, first 5 words.
Hold on.
Of the
What do you mean he was playing a school show?
So they were teasing it out.
Elementary school. He was just kidding.
But they were teasing it out,
like
with,
looking for actors?
correct, or whatever. I don't know, but yeah,
It was probably a reading.
he saw it
He
being
was probably
performed.
doing
I
a
gotcha.
reading. It
Yeah.
was probably like, you know how in Tick Tick Boom how
Yeah.
he does it in
Well,
front
but when he
of-
said school, I thought what I thought you meant is like Lin-Manuel started directing out school plays, and
Oh,
he saw
got it,
one.
no, it was
I was like,
probably
that's a pretty
it was
epic
probably
start.
a workshop like
Yeah,
it was probably a workshop like
makes
what we
sense.
saw
Yes.
On
in
Tick
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 Boom,
Boom.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I did love how, you know, he's constantly running. He's never satisfied. It's never enough, you know? And then he's got Eliza right there the whole time saying like, "Hey, I should be enough."
Yep.
and then he doesn't get there until the end after his son dies.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, you know what? That was enough. Like, if I could just have him back, it would be enough. And he really struggles with that. And, you know, I guess what I liked was that you could celebrate, you know, everything about this person because they're a founding father, and you could, but you know, he clearly didn't have a great relationship with his wife or with his kids or whatever, because all he did
Name someone he
was
had a
just
great
work.
relationship with.
Yeah, no one.
There's no one.
Angelica.
And we're not really.
Okay.
Not but no, she comes back and she's pissed. I
Well,
mean,
you don't
That's
get mad
just-
at your friends?
Yeah,
I don't think they
No, I mean,
stay
I
tight.
thought this was an interesting take because I watched.
That's a good. That Angelica probably is his closest relationship. at
But
least
they had the
in
most
this.
in common where
I haven't read it, but
Well, and that was what was interesting to me is I was always waiting for the other shoe to drop. When they said there was an affair, I was like, oh, it's got to be with Angelica.
yeah.
Because of how the playwright was. But that's a choice that they made. Like when you read the book, because I watched it first, then I read the book, and I'm waiting for it to happen. I was like, oh, it never happens. Is because the book it basically explains like they just were really close.
They were just close.
There was no she didn't
Got it.
she didn't love him. She didn't like, but in order, so this is the note. This is the note that Lin-Manuel has is in real life the Schuyler family had brothers, and Angelica was already married when she first met Alexander Hamilton. Lin-Manuel admitted he changed the details for dramatic effect, that they had no brothers, and Angelica is still single, being under pressure to marry a rich family to create the tension between Hamilton, Eliza, and Angelica.
Yeah.
However,
If
that
you really
they
loved
just had
him, you would share him.
Yeah. And
Eliza is a real person and was his wife, though, correct?
Oh, yeah.
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 But you just said that it was
Started
brothers.
the
You
orphanage,
said that-
did all the things.
No, they
You said-
had brothers, but she also had sisters.
Oh, got it. So
Yeah.
she wasn't the. I got it. She wasn't the. There was no.
They were
because
he was basically like, if I take out the brothers and I make them like a love triangle, then it'll be like
Yes.
way more about how you had to marry.
well,
rich.
it was a very. I mean, it made for an amazing story of I know I need to marry rich. I can't have this guy. I need to give him away.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, Marcus, your point brought up. Did we just turn on the lava lamp? Sam Adams will do that.
I'm really glad we did. I almost every episode I tell you
Yeah,
I want you
what
to
are we
turn it on.
doing?
2 pints of Sam Adams, but I'm working on 3.
These red coats don't want it with
Not
me.
really, but
Is that what you're drinking? Sam Adams?
that's what I'm drinking right now.
Sam
Little
Adams
Sam
Summer
Adams
Ale.
Summer Ale. Felt
wait-
right for 4th of July.
Marcus, it is a question that I find myself asking more and more and more. Where is that sweet spot of pursuing all God's will for your life with all your gifts that you've been given by Him and being completely content with what you have? We talk badly
It's
about
really hard.
So it is. It's really, really, really hard.
Say it again.
Where's the sweet spot? And maybe that's the wrong word of pursuing all of God's will for your life. He's given you all these gifts and something you're great at.
Ambition or whatever.
And being completely content with what you have.
I think that is the sweet spot. So like the way you said it was like, how do you find that? I was like, that is it.
So that's the
I think
destination.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like you can be pursuing and knowing what God wants big things for you. And you have talents that other people don't have. And if you're not using them, you're not living up to your potential. But while you're doing that, content, because the journey is the destination. Like as cliche as it sounds, like you're constantly, if you're living in that life and you only have that, where I'm like waiting for the next thing, you're going to get to the end of your life and realize you didn't live any of it. You were just waiting for the next thing. I wrote this piece recently, literally, actually this morning. I wrote this. It was after Game 7, and the Pacers lost, and it's heartbreaking. The whole city's quiet. It reminds me of like when Andrew Luck retired, and like the whole city's just kind of different on the next day.
Yeah.
And
Because it's been on fire for the last...
Yeah. And so, and I wrote,
At least a month.
I wrote,
He finished the game with the most 3-pointers made.
I know.
Did he really?
Yep.
Yeah, he
Halliburton?
did. Yeah.
Yep. So I wrote
Gosh,
this. So I wrote this piece, how things end is not what you experience, because like sometimes like we want to say like the season was a loss. It was a failure. If you're not first, you're last.
Sure.
That's not true.
No.
I mean, that would mean that 31 other teams had a failing season, and that's just not true. And like a lot of us, I've been stuck in this thinking before, where it's like how something ends is the negativity of the whole thing. So if marriage ends in divorce, the whole marriage sucked. If you get fired from a job, that whole job sucked.
Yeah.
And typically when things end, it's dramatic and nasty. Not typically, but sometimes. But it's usually not a good feeling when something ends. And so if you get to the end of your life and you look back at all the things that ended, and that's your whole life. And so, anyway, I'm sorry I'm going on this tangent, but I just think that is the sweet spot. The sweet spot is being able to pursue bigger things while being content with what you have in the moment.
So maybe the right question is picking and choosing. Like you could argue if Hamilton was more content with other parts of life, maybe he does take the summer to spend with his family and doesn't get his plan through Congress and does fail that. Like it's a give and take. You're not going to have both in the short. Now, in the long run, you could say, well, yeah, but then maybe
I don't know.
also
They mentioned John Adams in this, and he does that.
Yeah, but
Sure.
John Adams doesn't have a real job.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He did. Eventually he did.
Well, he was
Eventually
vice president at the time.
Eventually he got, I know.
That was the joke. That was funny.
It wasn't a joke. The vice president was literally a figurehead. So
John Adams.
I knew him.
I know him.
Have you guys watched John Adams?
They're going to eat him alive.
Was it a movie?
No, it's an HBO series, and it's fantastic. It's actually where they got it's where Lin-Manuel got his inspiration for the King.
Really?
They modeled it after the King and John Adams.
John
Adams
man who
is
came and talked to
fantastic.
me.
I will tell you that the three places. So
My
there's
British accent is
there's
so
this little
bad.
quote. There's this little interview between Aaron Sorkin and Lin-Manuel, and they're like arguing with you. It's like a cute thing they do at the beginning of like one of the things, and they're arguing about who had more of a profound historical impact, because Sorkin did The West Wing and some of these other things, and Lin-Manuel did Hamilton. It's really funny, but if you look at it, like in my opinion, I think there's three particular shows that have taught more about American history than really any of the other ones.
MASH.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew it. I knew it.
I'm pretty sure MASH is on no one's list other than Marcus's. But Hamilton's up there. But like Turn, if you haven't watched Turn yet, the American spies during the Revolutionary War are fantastic.
This is on HBO or something?
No, I think it's on Prime.
Nice.
Yep, it's on Prime.
Are you just talking about the Revolution?
Yes, specifically the Revolutionary, like 1776-esque.
Oh, that's why MASH
timing.
isn't on the list.
Yeah, I was just kidding.
And then John Adams. John Adams is a season long.
I've never even heard about it.
It's an HBO series, and it is fantastic. They actually show a tar and feathering. Like, they show it. And so do you know what like a tar and feathering actually was?
Oh, yeah.
They would literally take them like if they had a disagreement back in the duel. I mean, from this, the duels
Yep.
of the world, they would they would have a disagreement. If someone they had found guilty of something, they would take them in the quarter, like in front of everybody, strip them naked, pour hot tar on their backs, and strap them down to like this pole to where they couldn't move, and then put feathers on them so that it stuck. And it would scald them so much that someone would just die of the heat itself
dude,
of it.
it's
I mean,
awful.
it's messed up. But like
Freedom.
they were started doing this like around the Revolutionary War.
Jeez. Dude, you know how
And
lucky we
thereafter.
are? Pretty lucky.
Dude, you gotta watch John Adams. That's good.
You've got me on this. Okay, so imagine you are chilling, living your life. You're living in New York City. And
1776.
all of a sudden, all these British boats start showing up. Slowly but surely, every day, there's another 1,000 here. Then before you know it, there's just 32,000 soldiers chilling. And you're just living life. But you're like,
24,000.
we might go to war, we might not. How weird would that be?
Well, there was a lot of tension.
Yeah, clearly. But it's just like,
Because everybody wanted a war that could prove themselves.
He's trying so hard. I think I can't imagine that. I don't know how to feel about that.
I think the thing that we've experienced that is most like that is 9/11.
And that's not even close for
It
us
wasn't
in the
like that
Midwest.
though. What you're describing it's not what it was like. So like they were constantly at war since Columbus, right? So they come over, they're establishing the colonies, they're at war with the Indians. Now you're establishing that, and everyone who fought for Washington actually fought with a redcoat before they decided to turn.
He was a general for the British.
Yeah, before they turned their coats. So like you're constantly like George Washington was a first generation American, not knowing anything about Britain, but you're fighting for this country that, you know, is owning you and taxing you but not providing anything. And so slowly they started like getting frustrated that like the people that are telling them what to do don't even have representation. That's the whole taxation without representation. And so I don't think it would have been like all of a sudden these troops start showing up. It's like we have these troops and now we kind of want to start our own militia.
Got it.
And
Yeah, we were picking a fight.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
you're saying there were British troops already living in America.
Yeah, Washington,
they were.
Benedict Arnold, they were all fighting for.
There was no
the King's men.
Yeah, there was no British troops and American troops.
It was soldiers.
Right.
They
got it.
They were just part of the army, and everybody had to pick sides, right?
But that going back to the Count of
literally
Monte Cristo,
everyone committed treason.
right? But treason is a matter of dates.
Well, yeah,
said Napoleon in the Count of Monte Cristo episode. That's what's so fascinating about Benedict Arnold. So Benedict Arnold, if you watch,
could have been a hero.
He could have been a hero. We could be celebrating. He could be on one of our dollar bills today if Britain, who should have won the war, won the war.
I mean, this is July 4th episode, bro. We're not going to say they should have won the war. God was on our side. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he had to have been.
Yeah.
How does a ragtag band of... How's it go? I know you know the line.
I can't
Volunteers
remember the line.
in need of a shower
this is-
somehow defeat a global superpower.
This is
there you go.
This is a captions situation. I always watch. I stopped
You
watching
watch everything
No,
with
no.
captions.
I stopped. You guys talked me out of it, and I'm so glad you did. I don't watch things with captions anymore. This is a must-watch caption situation because of how fast-paced it is.
Well, that's
You will miss
what I
it.
was saying. The first time I watched it, I was like, "What did I just watch?"
No, you don't want.
I need
yeah,
to.
I've made
I
that
need to
mistake before.
rewatch this.
Yeah. Sorry,
Do it in
Rem's turning
Chinese sub. No, can we do?
Dude, do you remember?
Hey, can we do sign
to
language?
the girl? The girl.
The
Can we do
Asian girl
sign
on
language
the-
so Brett says to get her off?
Yeah. This is in Chinese subtitles now for you. Marcus is trying really hard to get the first edited episode.
More.
Oh, come on!
Hey, give me more. What else made you
It was
stop and
Brett
think?
that said it, not me. Man, should we start writing letters to each other again?
I mean, if we want to be remembered in history,
That's what I'm saying.
that's your sole purpose of saying that.
What?
Well, I mean, this podcast is kind of our letter to
True.
humanity, right?
So timeout. I just thought of something.
But the reason that they have all this history
So-
is because these people all wrote letters back and forth to each
Right.
other, and
Well-
the letters are saved.
Well.
Are all my emails saved, or what?
Yeah.
And they would write their speeches, and their
Your
speeches are
emails
saved.
are absolutely archived.
Oh,
unless you
I
delete
know
them.
they are. Trust me.
And I don't know if you guys have we have a will, and all of our stuff definitely goes to someone. Yeah, that's
Who's your will go to?
It depends on what it is. What they got a lot of things. Got some to the girls.
Can I
some
get
to-
your hats?
We can make that work. We can
Nice.
make that happen.
Producer Nate, can you mark that?
But yeah,
down?
emails. They'll be. People could definitely read your emails and get a sense of how you.
Here's the thing, though.
but we
I
don't write like.
write 100 emails a day.
Yeah, that's the thing, and most of it's
And
just
none of it
very
matters.
quick.
Dude, but
None of it matters.
That's what I mean.
Nothing's like this.
It's
he
not
wrote
correspondence.
He wrote
like
51
this.
of the 85 Federalist Papers.
Oh, I know.
Okay, so like he's attributed for like the founding father of economy. Like he built our economy based off of like all
Do you
these.
think you would have been a Federalist or an Anti-Federalist?
Okay, so let's define this, because I think this is interesting. Because I was like, okay, who became if this is two-party system? You've got Federalists and what, the Nationalists?
I don't know, but like, they had Federalist papers and they had Anti-Federalist papers.
Which were, I think, were the Nationalists is what they were calling them. And I was trying to figure out if those were a
they
version
were basically
of
like the state, the people who were. So you had the people who
state strong versus a national economy.
Yeah, who wanted the individual states to have all of the power,
right.
and their own
Essentially
economies,
operating
their
like
own debts,
countries
everything
in Europe.
else.
Correct? Is how.
Yeah. But it would be almost like the European
Yes.
Union.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Which is what they would have been familiar with. What they would have been.
No, they
comfortable
wouldn't
with.
have been, because the European Union didn't exist.
Well, sorry. Okay, so you're right. Yeah, it would have been worked together, but not together.
Yeah.
We're-
So
yes.
So the Federalists were the leaders were, and this is where Hamilton and Adams got along really well. So Alexander Hamilton, John Adams, George Washington, who never joined but leaned Federalist. The beliefs were strong central government, supported the national bank, standing army, thought elites and educated leaders should govern. The Democratic Republicans were the Jeffersonians.
Yeah.
Where leaders were Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, who flipped sides after the Constitution was ratified, by the way. Their beliefs were more in states' rights, limited federal government, opposed the national bank. But this isn't quite just the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Like this is a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like when you read that, it's like, oh, it's the same thing today.
Yeah,
but it wasn't
just as contentious.
Oh, for sure.
Every bit as contentious, because they're fighting for power.
Right. So
Right?
the scenes where they're breaking down, where they're fighting in the second act, when they're talking, when it's Jefferson versus Hamilton, basically. I love those scenes.
Oh yeah.
Because, well, first of all, the raps are really good.
We're gonna get a
And-
producer Nate moment, I think.
Oh, we have a fun fact? No. So I love those raps because I think they're super smart. I think the Jefferson quips, and they're going back and forth, like the way he writes. So to your point, like we're talking about how like it's like a tribute to like Brett's favorite kind of music.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool because essentially, and by the way, Brett's missing right now.
I love it.
because
I love
he's
it
gotta
when
pee mid-episode.
I love it when George Washington gets on the mic and he's like, "Is everybody ready?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
We're gonna have a cabinet meeting."
Oh man.
And then
It's like Idiocracy.
And then David Diggs and Lin-Manuel are going, and they're the two best rappers. In Angelica, those are the three best rappers, right? But the two best rappers are going at each other. It's great.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic.
Dude, you're right though. Angelica, like if you had to talk about like the rappers, she's definitely up there.
Oh yeah, she
Like in the
she's for sure up
first scene when she's rapping about Jefferson including her in the Constitution.
there. Yeah, oh yeah.
She gets your attention right away.
Or Declaration of Independence.
She does.
That's really good re-entry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one of my most disappointing parts of the show was the lack of reaction by the crowd
For her coming up.
to the 10 dual commandments.
10
Like,
dual commandments.
That is, we've talked about before. That's a Notorious B.I.G. song called the 10 Crack Commandments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
And
the,
that
the
should-
crowd had not heard that song.
The crowd is
That's
Do
how
you know how much these tickets cost in New York City?
I'm saying like that was very disappointing. And if I'm Lin-Manuel, I'm crawling. I'm so angry at them in that moment. Yes,
No.
you.
And by the way, they did react. Like they reacted to all of this.
No, they did not react to that. Should have
It's
been
such a loud part. How can you hear people reacting? Like it's bow, bow.
okay.
Ten
When he
dual
says
commandments.
immigrants, we get the job done. You hear a visceral response.
Because
the
it's New York
music.
City.
No. It's because the music is down. It's literally just a matter of like how loud the environment is. Like the Ten Dual Commandments is a very loud song. There's a lot of
They
pumping
literally
in speaker sound.
It's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's literally.
No, it's got cop sirens in the back when it goes 10 Dual Commandments. It's very loud.
I wish I would have heard a response.
You could be right that they didn't respond as loudly as what you were hoping for.
I don't think there was
Marcus
any
is right.
response.
If you look at the demographic of the ticket holders,
Right,
it's not the
exactly.
people.
This
that
is not
listen
a.
to-
This is.
It's very disappointing. Very disappointing. They should be ashamed.
that they didn't clap for Biggie.
He's from New York. He's a Brooklyn guy.
Do you know
too.
how many people are from Indiana that I don't care about? A
None.
lot.
I can name 11 guys you care about deeply.
Yeah, that's true. The
Yeah.
Indy 11.
Hey, one take. I know we love TJ McConnell.
We do love T.J. McConnell. That's one guy from Indiana I do love very much.
We're not. We better not get any TJ McConnell slander here.
I'm just gonna say, last night, I think he tried way too hard,
Brett, he had to.
dude.
Here's someone who only plays 18 minutes a game
But
because he goes so hard. He can't. He
you
had.
don't
they
have to-
adjusted at halftime, and he's
you
not.
don't have to pick up your dribble. You
Oh,
don't
totally.
have to
Totally.
jump and not know what you're gonna do. There's so many turnovers that just weren't necessary. That's why
There's
they
a
got
reason
so
he's
many
not
more
a starter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a reason.
All
he
right,
started.
I
He-
just-
That's
all
all
these-
there is to it.
all
He had
these
4
people-
turnovers
I
that
feel-
were bad timing,
Yeah.
but
he also
wasn't getting
scored.
any help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean the entire
Picking up
offense.
your dribble was pretty bad.
The entire offense changes when he comes in there, and it's okay, and it's a great change of pace.
Yes.
However, when they can go into halftime, and they can prep for it,
Yep.
and plan for that to be the main attraction, then they're going. A great defense like that is going to be able to double team and stop.
I think
TJ
last
McConnell.
night proved what Game 6 showed as well, was that Tyrese has kind of this, in a much better way, a Draymond Green effect, where it's like his stat line will not tell you even 40% of his impact on the game.
That's correct. He manipulates
Yes.
the entire.
Because Game 6, he played, 23 minutes? He scored 14 points. He had like 5 assists. But the way he impacted way more besides that.
At the beginning of this game, you saw it, right?
Yep.
Like he manipulates the whole game. And you know what? If you can take Tyrese out, then Indiana becomes pedestrian, and that's what happened.
It's a lot like.
I don't know about pedestrian.
okay.
We would have a different setup, different strategy,
not
different
pedestrian, average,
But
whatever.
but it's a lot like Hamilton. There's no one star.
Yeah, well, I mean, you take Hamilton out, and they start losing the war,
Correct.
and then Lafayette comes back and he says, George Washington, you got to get your right hand man back.
Yep.
Also true.
Get your right hand.
I wish that was possible. That's an awesome part.
The
I'm a big
book.
fan
The
of
book goes into more detail.
That was a seamless transition. I feel
The
like
book.
I should be being
The book goes
applauded
into
right
more
now.
detail about Hamilton being like actually a war general, like him being a commander of a fleet.
Yeah.
that. They spend more time
Oh yeah.
on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when he gets his right hand man back.
Yeah.
He gives him his command.
Dude, and have we talked about this? Like the men, like this. Talk about Renaissance men. Like
Dude.
these guys, they go from whatever the country needs them to do. I'm going to get on a ship. I'm going to now be a naval commander, and I'm going to win this battle. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to write the Constitution. And then I'm going to, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's
Totally.
absurd. And now we've got guys who watch people play video games on YouTube. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or, watch people
That's a
play
really-
basketball on TV.
That's a really interesting question, though, what you said about the balance of would he have done the great things, but then also being able to balance family. But that's why I love John Adams so much. John Adams put family first and knew there was a time where he had to. I mean, John Adams had kids that were dying of. He buried 2 of his own kids. Had a son that became president. Like had a lot going on, but you could tell like family came first, which is why it was good for him to represent the country.
I think it ultimately will give you more longevity when you do it that way, because you're going.
when you
to,
don't feel like you're running out of time.
But if you look at if you go to sports, because we always compare to sports,
Yep.
the greatest typically always have pretty crappy home lives.
Yeah.
Like the people we
For
consider
sure.
the greats, which is why I think LeBron, however you want to take it, is impressive that he's kept his family together amongst the stardom.
He's also
Roger
had
Federer.
He's also had remarks after going out for the season of saying it's just basketball. He gets torn up about that, but that's probably also
what keeps his family together.
I think he's...
Roger Federer is pretty impressive in that regards. But yeah, I mean, you look at the greats. Jordan, no, I wouldn't want that.
Tom Brady
Would not want that.
absolutely not.
You know what I mean?
Did you know Jordan's, I don't even want to call it an entourage, it's probably mostly security and whatnot that rolls with him. Do you know the code word for Jordan is Yahweh?
that he's in the
What?
in the
That's literally what they refer to him as. Like, if your eagle has landed,
Gosh.
they literally call him Yahweh.
Is this verified? Is this blue check marked?
I'll look up the article. I'll find it. But it wasn't like...
you sure that wasn't Kanye?
It wasn't like basketballhead.com.
Kanye.
Like, it was...
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get to something that I think is just absolute genius.
Please.
All right. Beginning, one of the really fun songs where he's really making his mark is he's saying, I'm not throwing away my shot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They make a big point of that. I'm not throwing away my shot.
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
Then he gets middle. We'll go to the middle, right? When George Washington is asking him to be his secretary, which he doesn't want to do because he wants to go to be in battle, right? He wants to command. He doesn't want to be the secretary. And he's like, well, I'm not going to throw away my shot, right? Well, how does he die? He dies throwing away his shot. Literally. And I have to think that Lin-Manuel, and I don't, is this historically accurate that he pointed up? So I didn't know this about duels, but it makes a lot of sense to me where you're basically just saying, you know what? Like, argument over, we're done. Life is more important. Like, I'm going to point up, right? And he had grown a lot through the death of his son and everything else.
Is his son historically accurate? His son dies in a duel? Wow.
And so it's just very, very fascinating to me. And I have to think that what Lin-Manuel Miranda did was he started with that idea of like, oh, he threw away his shot. And then he built that through. And I just think that that's brilliant.
It is brilliant. It is brilliant.
It's a great find. That's the first time I've ever heard that.
You guys got to read the book. I know I keep saying that.
I will.
But you will enjoy it so much.
So
with books like with when it's that long, I feel like I need to just read it because it'll be so much faster than if I listen to it.
We're screening in the background, obviously. This is one of the songs I didn't love. I don't like Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, we were just talking
you don't
about
like
it.
the Louisiana thing?
I don't.
The rap battle?
No. This. What did I miss?
What did I miss?
You don't like the Louisiana French thing
too
going
clowny?
on?
It's clowny.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the point.
I think that is the point.
Because
They're
obviously
trying,
Alexander Hamilton has a big beef with this guy. He wants to make him look corny.
Sure.
He's not aware. He's not a real American.
Yeah. Jefferson's been gone. Like, he doesn't even know what we're doing here.
So maybe they accomplished what they wanted to
I've
do.
been invited to the president's office.
And Jefferson represents
he
a
says.
lot of what we would say the Republican Party would represent today.
Got it.
So, like, if you're going to take a stance, you're going to make Jefferson look like a clown.
Got it. Get it. I loved the moment you were talking about how he grew a lot. When son dies, Eliza is there together, but it's clear that Hamilton is kind of living life on his own, and they're married, but he's seen by himself
He's
a
had
lot.
this affair.
Then
he publishes the papers that
Reynolds pamphlet.
basically she says you saved your reputation but ruined our lives.
Yes. It was clear where his priorities were.
Yeah.
So then it shows them together, but they won't touch. And then finally they grab each other's hand and it's silent. And
she grabs his hand.
Yes. And the choir by themselves, it's just one word. It's forgiveness.
Yeah.
Dude, that's one of my favorite parts of the entire musical.
It's great.
It's so good. It's so good. From then on, I feel like it closes so strong.
Yeah, there's a lull.
I'm okay with it, but there's definitely a lull.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, when he's out of office, and
The war is over.
War's over, or I guess it's not. Yeah,
The affair is happening. It's,
Yeah.
it's just a little bit of a lull.
an important part to the story.
Yeah.
because it turns in.
but a lull
So-
in the musical itself.
Yes.
Eliza didn't just like preserve his legacy. Like she
Created her own.
created her own. She created her first private orphanage.
Yeah.
Like campaigned for years, outlived him,
Mm-hmm.
and is like a hero in this whole story. It's pretty interesting.
He wakes up early for his duel. It begged myself to ask this question. How did you wake up early back then? What did you you just say, I've got to be up at dawn, I'm going to bed at 6 p.m.? Like what did you do to ensure
You
you
mean
were-
like without alarm clocks?
I thought you just told the chicken what time.
no alarm clock? Is there some
There's
sort of
alarm
mechanical
clocks.
timer? Like
There's alarm clocks.
okay.
Like the twisty alarm clocks like that.
Oh,
Like that would vibrate and fall off the tables. There was alarm clocks.
I have no idea.
For sure. They had pocket watches. I mean, they knew what time it was.
I know they knew what time it was, but I don't know if there was an alarm of some kind.
so it'd be like a mechanical, like
Oh.
it'd be
We're gonna have to
It'd
like
be-
look it up, but
it'd be
I'm
like
pretty sure.
well, it'd be banging us.
Neverland.
Alarm.
It was.
I'm sure there's old school alarm clocks that did something.
Just
I guess.
Jack smashing them all.
All right, here we go. You guys ready?
Yes.
When do you think the alarm clock was invented?
Well, Based on-
1984.
Ancient Greece,
oh wow.
250 BC, created a water clock that used system of gears and pegs to basically
Chime.
set
Yeah.
time. First alarm mechanism, but the first
Oh,
1787.
I guess clocks could have charmed.
1787 was the
Levi Hutchins of New Hampshire built the first American mechanical alarm clock. It could only ring at 4 a.m.
Oh,
There's your
dude,
question.
But
There's your answer. Everyone woke up at 4 a.m.
But that was after he died. He died before that, didn't he?
No.
By the way, the reason why is because that's when he wanted to wake
No.
up.
No.
So it was not adjustable. He's like, you know what? Screw it. If I'm going to make this for everybody, we're all waking up at 4 a.m.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so
David
great.
Goggins, basically.
Levi Hutchins. Yeah, and
Levi,
then-
David.
And then everyone
Goggins,
started posting on
Hutchins.
Instagram that they're up at 4 at the gym.
Yeah.
You know,
Grind.
Yeah.
Hashtag grind.
blessed.
back then though, you're getting up. You're not. I don't know. You're not laying on your phone.
Dude,
you're
if
not
you
laying.
I got news for you. If you have a duel in the morning where you could die, you're not going to bed.
That's true.
like
That's
you're,
fair.
Well,
You're
yeah. I mean,
tossing and turning, and you're up and
I
having
literally
cereal.
woke up. I woke up at like 4:30 in the morning yesterday because the NBA Finals game was that night.
Yeah, that's a good
Anytime I'm excited about something, I just wake up.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. The adrenaline,
Yeah.
it just gets you.
Knowing
That's a true story.
Knowing REM has caused me to value sleep way more
Then
than
you knew
I
me.
used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it does. It's the one thing that I can't. The older I get, the harder it is to replace. that
Knowing me?
energy. You're very good at protecting your sleep.
Yeah, I just don't think waking up early is the key to success. I think everyone like glorifies that. I think for some people, waking up early is the key to their success because they need structure that starts before everyone else starts their day. But I think if you have control over that, you
I
need to
just get
prioritize 7
FOMO.
hours.
I just get FOMO.
Yeah, I'm not saying sleep until 10 or 11. I'm just saying like most people are like, you got to get up at 5 and get
No,
2
I
hours
just don't
before.
sleep very much.
It is the
you-
best way for me to guarantee that time that's not going to get taken. But to your point, yes, if you learn how to prioritize it,
Dude, it helps you regulate weight. I mean, the two things that doing 75 hard with producer Nate has taught me is that sleep and walking are two of the most powerful things to regulate your body, including weight. Like I used to prioritize running, and walking, it not only helps you with your metabolism, but it actually burns more fat than running does in some cases. And so if you do 45-minute walk every single day for 75 days, it changes things.
Yeah.
And it also helps you sleep. Like it also helps you go to sleep. So yeah, I've learned so much just in the 15 days.
And I wake up early to be able to take a long walk.
Do you? But you also go to bed before I do.
I
That's
don't.
true.
I don't really have any. I don't know. I just stay up late and get up early.
You do. You can operate.
I don't really get it. But I did read. Jessica sent me an article.
Some people need less sleep.
Jessica sent me an article about how like certain people can just sleep less and it's okay. And I might just be one of those people.
I'm pretty sure our buddy Chris Heigl was known to be a 2 to 4 hour a night.
That's crazy to me.
Well, what I know is my sweet spot is 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I can operate for multiple days in a row on 3 if I need to.
Oh, wow.
Why would you need to do that?
Well, not lately. Like I just there've been times in my life where I've done it. But so I know that I can do it for like 3 days in a row, and 3 is better than 4. So
Yeah.
So
I get
because my
that.
sleep cycle is 3 hours. So if I go for 6, it's basically the same as if I sleep 8. It literally, my body feels the exact same. And so I would rather, like, I'll just set my alarm for 6 hours no matter what.
There's full books on this. Our chiropractor wrote books on sleep.
Really? I mean, I don't know anything about sleep. I'm just telling you what I feel.
Yeah.
I will also say that every stage of life, the answer to that question is different.
But I will also challenge you think like we always think, okay, well, what this is affecting is my energy and that's it. But like if you're like, hey, my energy's fine, but your goal was to lose 5 pounds and you just could not figure it out doing what you're doing with your diet,
maybe.
and then you added like 2 or 3 hours to your sleep, you're like, oh, that was
Yeah, there's
it.
there's a thing in your body called the janitor that literally cleans up and needs enough time to be able to do that while you sleep.
What part of your body's the janitor?
I don't know.
Is that what you call them? It's an interesting thought. Interesting perspective.
Hey-o.
Anything else make us stop and think?
You have no control who lives, who dies, who tells your story. Partially true.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell. Or you can't.
It's kind of like we were talking about with the nicknames.
Okay, maybe it is.
Nicknames.
Maybe it is true. You can't control who lives or who dies or who tells your story. That's true. You can't. Who tells your story? However, you do have the option to tell your story. Right? Whether it's like this over a podcast, whether it's writing. I've become more and more convinced that like the best time capsule we have is writing.
You're welcome.
No, I mean partially because of you guys, but content like this, writing, whatever, is the best time capsule that we've got.
Yeah.
Right? Because, maybe or maybe not, but it's hard to imagine that this conversation, once it's published and out there, is just going to be gone at some point in time. Right? So that's a time capsule into, whatever today's date is, June 20 whatever, 2025. Right? And it's pretty interesting. And writing is the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's a time capsule. The book that we read for the last episode is a time capsule that takes you back to Vietnam. And it's in some ways a time machine. I just think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So you do have the option to tell your story. Others are going to tell it whether you like it or not, right? But it's just an interesting.
To take it
line.
To take it a layer deeper, we were talking with our life group about this, and like I don't want to get into a debate about Calvinism versus Arminianism, like basically free will versus sovereignty of God. Like, are we just to the nth degree just robots living out what God has already predestination, basically. Without getting too deep, let's assume that we have free will within sovereignty.
Okay.
I have ended some of my messages with, but one of my most favorite messages to give is, "What is your story?" And I start with the concept of 2 baseballs on an assembly line. They're worth the same amount of money. They're worth less than 50 cents. One gets hit by Mark McGuire to break the record and is worth $3 million. Another one's a foul ball that I caught from Benin to San Diego.
Yeah.
both balls are sitting right next to the story. The only difference between the millions of dollars is the story. And so I go throughout my whole message, and at the end, I say, and your story is still being written, and guess who the author is? And I've always used that as like you're in control of the decisions that you make. But I've struggled with that because I'm like, God is the author, but you have an impact on that. And I've really struggled with how to really say that.
I think it's that he gives you the opportunity to co-author.
He's the publisher with final editing like ability, I would say. Like he's like, I'm going to get this book to end the way I want it to end, but you've got plenty of choose your own adventure decisions to make.
I've heard that take a lot recently.
I think that's what I believe is if I were to get cornered and say, what do you believe about free will?
Well, I don't
sovereignty?
necessarily. I guess partially, right? It's hard because we can't put ourselves in a position in which we know all things.
Mm-hmm.
But God put us here to co-create with Him.
Yes. Yep.
Right? And so He also knows the decisions that you will make and how He's going to use them for His glory.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean that it's pre-written or predetermined? Or does it just mean that He knows the decisions
foreknowledge
that you're going to make?
Is foreknowledge the right word?
Yeah, sure.
It's
a hard concept to like wrap your mind around, and it's a fun one to.
Not really. You just have to ignore any other possibilities.
I know it's just a fun one. It's a fun one to go either back and forth about or to.
All right, let me give you
contemplate.
Let me give you four short scriptures that will help hone in kind of what I think we all believe.
Mm-hmm.
So Hebrews 12:2. Fix your eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of your faith. Also, other translations say author and finisher of your faith. Psalm 139. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. That's a really hard verse to, without context, not think, oh, wow, sovereignty is real, but what is my place in that? So then your role in this, our hearts... humans plans their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Proverbs 16:9. But then you get into like Paul's writings in Galatians. A man reaps what he sows, right? Not to say that God isn't a part of that, but like you are reaping what you sow. What you decide to do will have consequences, good or bad. And so I think
some of those examples are based on how zoomed in are you. Like I think Paul's extremely zoomed in his, whereas the Psalms
in that
might be,
one specific verse, because there's plenty of times for Paul.
But like in the Psalms, I think it's like more zoomed out, big picture, and I think that's at least what I'm getting at with the he knows the ending, like you talked about. I would
choose your own adventure is interesting. Yeah. I think there's a lot of, I think there's some scripture to back that up. Based on what I've been reading,
feel pretty good about it.
Not.
I mean, this is a lot longer conversation than we have time for, but
yeah,
I got all the time in the world.
We'll just end
it Monday night.
Yeah,
got a 6-hour flight. Let's go.
Good.
You know what? My wife and kids are probably in bed right now. We're fine. Let's keep going.
We're ready to move on.
That's how it would go if we were just sitting and having a conversation, recording a podcast.
Let me put a caveat.
I would have gone to bed.
Let me put an asterisk.
But Rem and I would not have gone to bed.
Exactly. Let me put an asterisk to what you said. Choose your own adventure does not mean God doesn't know what you're going to choose.
Correct.
And that's the hard paradox of this whole thing. Is God knowing? I mean, this is the same thing with Jesus putting aside his godhood to experience being a human.
Yes.
It's like a really hard concept to grasp in your head.
I mean it more of like a GPS where if I make, and there can't be a wrong turn, he can get me back on track. And if I get too far off track and it's not online with his plan, he will create a massive accident. I've had it happen in my life where he gives red flags that I ignore. Then he's like, well, I truly believe if you're going to ignore them, then okay, here you go, and I'm still going to get my way, his way, but it's going to hurt. And I genuinely believe that that's how that's working.
Yeah, I mean, I've said that about Jacob. Like, Jacob essentially stole the birthright, like, wrestled with God, did
tried
all
everything.
these things, like, tried to be sneaky about the wife, and basically it all came back. You can make the argument that God was going to use him no matter what. He just kept getting in his own way, and he wouldn't have had to limp the rest of his life, and he wouldn't have had to change his name. Like,
Yeah.
Interesting thought. Interesting sidebar conversation.
What
movie are we doing?
I have no idea.
We're on quotes from Hamilton, the 2020 Disney Plus release. Also,
What's your name, man?
Oh, we're on quotes?
He just went to quotes. That was the transition.
Oh, shoot. All right.
We're 92 minutes in.
I'm sure many of the quotes are also things
episode
that
number
made you
2
think.
tonight.
He handles the financials. You punch the Burr, sir?
You punched the burst?
Oh man, the first time I heard this, two-parter here. First time I heard these, I died. And I'll send a full. Oh, I'm getting the melody wrong.
I've been waiting the whole episode.
I'm trying to get the. I need. It's like a tape. It's like a cassette tape. I need the beginning. Fully Armed Battalion 2, remind you of my love. And then
one of my favorite karaoke songs. To
I
sing.
will kill your friends and family.
To remind you of my love.
Those are epic.
Perfectly
Everybody.
delivered.
Yes.
Perfectly delivered
Yes.
by Jonathan Groff.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Wow. Jessica has that on the back of our
Awesome.
I have it
Wow.
on a sweatshirt.
This is a good interaction. Mr. President, you asked to see me? I know you're busy. What do you need, sir? Sir? I want to give you a word of warning. Sir, I don't know what you heard, but whatever it is, Jefferson started it.
This was another George Washington Hamilton exchange, but it's when Burr comes in and he's basically like, have you met? And the timing of them both saying, we keep meeting, was another one of those just so well written, incorporating everybody. It was great.
Me, I trusted him. Me, I died for him.
Me,
I loved him. Me, I'm the
damn
fool who shot him. Now, I think what's really fun about that is that the characters that play multiple people, right? So, like, the guy that plays his son and plays
Anthony Ramos,
whatever.
Ramos.
He says, "I died for him," and he dies for him twice.
Oh, dude, great catch!
And then it's the same with all of them that play multiple parts or that do whatever. Is it works all the time?
Yeah,
it's just
Great
really,
catch.
really, really cool.
Really
Great
smart.
catch. Dying is easy, young man. Living is harder.
Mm-hmm.
If you stand for nothing, Burr, what do you fall for?
Oh, who are you?
Who are you? Who are you?
This is not a moment; it's a movement.
Everything is legal in New Jersey.
My dog speaks more eloquently.
That duet. Would you call that a duet?
Sure.
That duet is
Samuel Seabury.
how do you,
Don't modulate the key.
how does a tiny island across the stream
Regulate
the price of tea? That duet is very impressive as well.
Burr, I'd rather. Let's talk about this for a second. Burr, I'd rather be divisive than indecisive. What do you think about that? Like, I think I got a little Burr in me.
I definitely.
You're very Burr.
No.
I can be very
Indecisive?
Not that he's indecisive, but that he's lying in wait.
Diplomatic. I can be very diplomatic when need be. Yeah, and I think that's something that
Pragmatic. I've been accused of being pragmatic.
Divisive, another word for selling. The difference between Socrates and Plato.
Well, this is why I use the word brash in my 9 words, right? Is because he's like...
He's playing with house money.
He's like, I am going to make a stand. If you stand for nothing, what do you fall for, right? Like, this is where I stand. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep fighting for this. I'm going to do these things over and over and over again. Whereas Burr is like, hey, I'm a trust fund baby. Like, let me see where all this falls, and then I'll go.
I just want to end up on the right side. So
That's
I'm not
right.
going to pick one, and then when it's time.
And this is a guy that you
He's
guys
kinda-
relate to?
We're just saying.
I'm just saying that like, that's the pragmatist versus the person who just takes the stand. There's times that I've been accused of such.
So I'm told.
Which is, I mean, it's kind of funny because, like, I stand very firmly on many things.
Yes.
And then there's other things where I'm just like, well, whatever.
There's not
Like, why
many
don't we
things
find
outside
common
of
ground?
my faith in Jesus that I need to be that, like, live or die on this hill on.
Yeah.
So why do it? But I don't want to do it as an easy way out either.
Yeah.
You know. But I think there is. It does allow you to get more things done.
That's the thing.
Big picture, when you
Yeah.
are diplomatic about stuff, and then when you decide this is one worth fighting for, I feel like you get a lot more.
It's not
ears.
necessarily even diplomatic. It's just like, you know what? I'm going to be pragmatic. I'm going to take the little wins and continue to inch my way there. And that really bothers some people who are like, no, it's all or nothing. You know? And
I also just believe that
I respect the all or nothing people. I just don't know if it's the best way to actually get the job done. And it's not like Hamilton wasn't pragmatic.
Immigrants.
They get the job done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
more quotes.
Talk less.
Smile more.
Don't let them
Know what
That
you're
works
against
perfectly
or
with the
what you're
conversation
for.
we just had.
you can't be serious.
You want to get ahead.
Fools that run their mouths off
Wind up
dead. Yo.
That
What
guy
time is it?
said- That was good. I'm Hercules Mulligan. I do love those three
I
characters in the
almost did
bar.
it.
They're
I
pretty
almost-
funny.
I almost said it.
Ramos, the dude that plays Lafayette, which I need to learn his name because he's
David.
really great.
If it takes fighting a war for us to meet, then it would be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
That's some serious game from
That
the
is
Tomcat.
that's spitting.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
That's
how many
true.
times had he used that up to that point?
Probably
that
a
night?
lot.
It's great.
Once on
line.
Angelica, apparently.
If we're to believe him about his own story, then probably a lot.
Who?
The whole them like thrusting and doing this stuff is just so funny.
when he's talking about
They're just some boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Just hanging, man.
Yeah, they're young.
And
They're
how-
young men.
Hey.
How old are they
They're-
at this point? They're
I don't have
teenagers?
any
Are
idea.
they
just out
young?
of college.
Yeah,
Okay.
19, 20, 22.
yeah.
Yeah, Hamilton. So the book starts way before he gets to shore. Like the musical starts
In the Caribbean?
It tells the whole backstory of his mom raising him, and they thought she was like a prostitute, but it wasn't. Like this.
Does the opening song talk about him actually having some Scottish descent, and then he
Yeah,
ends
I
up
mean,
in the
it-
Caribbean?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like he's a mutt. He's from
Yeah.
all over the place based on, it's actually really fascinating, the story behind his parents and how he gets raised. He reads a ton of books because that's all he has time. He's basically just in this house all the time. So he's just reading.
Yeah, like he's running out of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
How do you write like you're running?
I was chosen for the Constitutional Convention. That part's so funny. All right, but are you ready for a cabinet meeting?
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun, dun, dun.
that just reminds me of Idiocracy every time I hear it. You guys ever seen Idiocracy?
No, sir.
It's ridiculous.
Angelica, tell my wife that John Adams doesn't have a real job anyway. That just cracks me up every time. Everything's legal in Jersey. You said that already, didn't you? Yeah.
Jersey.
Oh. Can we get back to politics?
Oh,
I
he's
thought
right.
that part is hilarious.
No, and you're talking about James Madison?
yeah.
Yes, thank you. He's crying after the forgiveness song.
Last one I had. Here's an itemized list of 30 years of disagreements. When he's like, Burr's mad at him and sends him the note.
Burr, him. Dun, dun, dun.
History Has His Eyes on You is a really good song.
Yes.
That's what I wrote down.
Teach them how to say goodbye. Also, I like that song more and more every time I listen to it. I'm very impressed by the guy who does George Washington.
Oh, yeah, he's really good.
He's solid.
Hidden gems. I think we're ready. I already shared, but that was a Riley fun fact. The guy who COVID saved his voice because he got to take a break from all the Hamilton performances.
So it was Hamilton specifically that was killing his voice?
Yes.
Like playing that role?
Probably playing that role and just how powerful he sings because he's George Washington.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's really going after it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught this hidden gem. When
Did he have nodes?
Hamilton is meeting with Eliza's father, and right when her father agrees to let him marry her, he does a dance where he's essentially gyrating.
Oh, yeah.
And then the father sees
shows
him.
up.
Yeah, but it's in the background. This is the first time I've ever noticed it.
So funny.
Yeah.
There's so much happening in the background. Like when you watch these actors in the background.
Yep.
It's really fun.
What's the son's first rap?
Oh, yeah.
You can he goes,
shoot. I always forget that one.
But I got it from my mother.
it's funny.
So this isn't really a hidden gem, but when the girls were realizing that she was pregnant, so let me set this up. I was watching this with the kids, right? And
your girls
with my girls.
Yep.
So I'm watching it with my girls, and we had talked already about the dresses and how ridiculous they are with the butts and everything else, right? And then,
that's crazy. Like that's something said, I just got used to watch.
Somebody said, "Is she pregnant?" You know, because she's like holding her belly, but she doesn't look pregnant. You know, is she pregnant? And I don't know if it was me or somebody was like, "Yeah, but it's in her butt." I thought that was hilarious.
Did you just go with it?
Yeah, it was very funny. Very funny. The only other hidden gem I wrote down was the feral tomcat, because I know that's not true, but that's funny. Martha Washington named the feral tomcat after him. That's just hilarious.
So it's not true? I feel like him saying that's true is...
I feel like that is a nod to saying that it is true.
Me too.
I don't think it's true.
I feel like if he said that, it would be... I loved King George. He says, "I'm so blue," and then stomps the stage.
Yeah, and the whole stage turns blue. Yeah. That is really good.
Also him dancing during the Reynolds pamphlet.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Everybody that's dancing during the Reynolds pamphlet is funny.
I think I alluded to this fun fact.
He ain't going to be president now.
In the last show, but the show's popularity has been credited with the U.S. Treasury foregoing his plan to replace Hamilton on the $10 bill. So, like, you can literally just change history by being awesome.
Well, was there an original reason or push why they wanted to change it?
Trump probably wanted to be on it.
That's fair, dude. It's fair.
Or was that the $200 bill?
Dude, has there ever been
Gulf of America?
Has there ever been a president that wanted to be on a dollar bill more than Trump?
Yeah.
Probably not.
They should put his mugshot on the dollar. If they do it, they should put his mugshot on it.
Do you think that they said the only way we'll do this is if you let us put our mugshot? Do you think he'd still be like,
yes,
100%?
He would for sure.
He'd be like, where do I sign?
Any more hidden gems?
I got them all out during the show.
Rating time. I am a 9.
Yeah, you watch this every 4th of July.
I love it. Yeah.
So and we're filming this on the 24th, which means you have to watch it again.
I get 2 hours to watch it again, but this time I get to watch it outdoors on the back patio.
At 10 o'clock, huh?
And once it's dark, the fireworks start going off.
I just don't believe.
Dude, I think I'm coming over to watch this.
I don't believe that you watched.
So awesome.
I think I'm coming over.
I don't believe you stay up till 1.
And
Riley invited me, so
and Riley said you're invited. Yeah. Bring the hookah, hang out.
We're coming.
Oh,
this is happening.
You didn't say hookah.
It is.
Oh, we have hookah too.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm for sure there.
It is a It has been
OMG.
95 degrees here in Indianapolis the last few days. So hopefully we don't have a heat wave like that. But if we do,
I get to watch a championship softball game tomorrow.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. My daughter catching. Had to miss the semifinal tonight to film this for y'all. Or film or record, whatever we call it.
What you won't miss
Rating?
is... Oh, yeah, rating.
I haven't really thought about this. Do you have yours ready?
Oh, yeah, it's a 9.
It is?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Of all the people not to be, I would guess, won't be influenced by other people's votes, it would have been Marcus. Marcus, you allow yourself influence. We need to make you start going first.
No, I don't really know how to rate this.
Yeah, it's not a movie.
It's because it's not a movie.
It's not a movie. I'm rating it for what it is. It's a filmed stage play, and it's a 9.
It's as a play, it's fantastic.
I'll tell you the book is a 9. And we'll never do the book because you guys won't do that.
I'll do it.
Well, we're not going to do it on the show after doing this.
8.9. Perfect.
Good job.
8.6. 8.6.
Respect. What's next? Jaws, which I've never seen.
Gosh.
At least, yeah.
I've never seen. Is the shark robotic?
No, it's a real shark. They trained it. They trained it. What's your name, man?
Jaws.